Kahraman Haliscelik has been the United Nations and New York correspondent for Turkey's national public television and radio broadcaster, TRT, for over 6 years. On Monday, he gave us a glimpse into his life at the United Nations and the powerful strides he is taking to change the world, one story at a time.
I've always been fascinated by the international affairs and how this organization tries or works towards changing the world. And I wanted to see if I could change the world in my own capacity. Since the establishment of the UN, this association has been here, and we are partners with the UN in terms of media relations and relations with journalists. There are stations, there are news agencies, there are newspapers, there are even bloggers that have their own blog that are based here. You have major international news outlets here. The UN does not deal with the people on the street. The way we change it, or we try to change it, is to bring people who can talk about certain issues, to bring people who can have positive impact. And I think those kind of change how people think. Those also change how people behave, probably.
If anyone made you really nervous to interview?
About 2 months ago, I was in the Oval Office with 2 journalists from the UN and a few others from the White House. And when I asked President Obama a question, I felt like my voice was a little shaky. And that was probably the only one that I remember.
And what was the question about?
The question was about Syria and how the U.S. was cooperating in countering ISIS with Turkey. There were a lot of security that asked us not to ask questions and stuff, so I broke the rule. And I think that's why
that
I kind
makes
of
you nervous.
nervous, yes.
Do you ever find that you come across these conflicts when you're trying to report on these types of issues?
You do, and you break the rule.
Okay, that was my next question.
Right, you do, and you break the rule, you take the risk. They usually understand it. They usually make statements that they think they've given you enough information for a story, but that is always never the case.
Is there any one issue that you're passionate about, or any project that you really want to see come to fruition?
Climate change, and also sustainable development goals. Those are 2 long-term stories that I'm focusing on, and I try to bring people in. Human rights, very passionate about, especially for the region that I come from. It's important to tell the people what they have, what they can do. As journalists, we have a limited space where we run around, that we can create change. But I think as someone who is outside, who can bring the UN into events, who can bring NGOs together, who can create ideas, who can take more steps out of journalism, create events that journalists can come and cover. I think I have taken some steps to kind of go to that direction a little bit, and within the next 5 years, I think I'll be doing more in shaping instead of just covering what's being shaped.